The rain hammered against the windows of the small apartment like angry fists. Daehyun sat at his kitchen table, picking at the remains of his dinner. The instant noodles had gone cold an hour ago, but he barely noticed. His mind was elsewhere, running through the repair schedules for tomorrow's shift at the orbital salvage yards. Thunder rolled across the Seoul skyline, and the lights flickered. Nothing unusual. The lower residential districts always had power problems during storms. Daehyun stood up and carried his bowl to the sink. 28 years old, and this was his life. Wake up, work on broken spaceships, come home, sleep, repeat. He missed his family. 10 years had passed since the border conflicts took them, but some nights the emptiness felt fresh. His younger sister's laugh, his mother's cooking, his father's terrible jokes, all gone in a single orbital strike that was supposed to hit a military target. The crash on his balcony made him jump. Metal scraped against concrete. Glass shattered. Daehyun grabbed the plasma wrench from his tool bag. It was not much of a weapon, but it was better than nothing. He approached the balcony door slowly. Through the rain-streaked glass, he could see something large had landed outside. He slid the door open. Rain immediately soaked his shirt. On his balcony, among the broken pots of dead plants he had never bothered to replace, lay a figure in strange armor. The armor glowed faintly like moonlight trapped in metal. Patterns of light pulsed across its surface, growing dimmer with each second. The figure moved. A hand reached out, trembling. Daehyun stepped closer, wrench raised. The armor's helmet retracted, folding back like liquid metal. He stopped breathing. She looked almost human. Almost. Her face was beautiful but wrong in subtle ways. Her eyes were too large, the color of deep violets. Her hair was white with streaks of silver that seemed to move on their own. Faint patterns glowed beneath her skin like veins filled with starlight instead of blood. She was bleeding. The blood was red at least. That was something familiar in this impossible moment. She looked up at him. Her lips moved, forming words in a language he did not understand. Then her hand touched something on her collar, and when she spoke again, the words were Korean. Broken, heavily accented, but Korean. "May I stay here for the night, human?" Daehyun stood frozen. This was insane. This was dangerous. Aliens were supposed to stay in designated zones. There were laws, protocols, entire government departments that handled this sort of thing. He should call the authorities. He should close the door and pretend this never happened. But her eyes, desperate, frightened, pleading, they reminded him of his sister on that last day trapped in the rubble asking him to stay with her. He made his decision. "Can you walk?" he asked. She tried to stand. Her legs buckled. Daehyun caught her before she hit the ground. She was lighter than he expected despite the armor. He half carried, half dragged her inside and kicked the balcony door shut behind them. He laid her on his couch. The armor was retracting on its own now, pulling back to reveal a simple black suit underneath. The glowing patterns on her skin were fading. Up close he could see 3 deep wounds on her side still bleeding. "First aid kit," he muttered, running to the bathroom. His hands shook as he grabbed supplies. What was he doing? This could get him arrested. This could get him killed. Aliens and humans were not supposed to mix like this, not without permission, not without paperwork, not without 100 different approvals. When he returned, she was trying to sit up. "No, stay down," he said firmly. He had basic medical training from his military service. Enough to know these wounds were serious. He cleaned them as best he could. Her blood was strange under the light. It looked red, but there were tiny sparkles in it, like glitter. She winced but did not cry out. Tough, he thought. Or maybe just used to pain. "What happened to you?" he asked as he worked. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she touched her collar again, adjusting the translator. "I am Nari," she said slowly. "Princess Nari of the Velen Sovereignty. I am being hunted." Daehyun almost dropped the bandage. "Princess? You are royalty?" "Yes, there is a war in my empire. My brother wants power. He sent assassins. I escaped, but they followed me here to Earth. They poisoned me. My healing does not work anymore." She looked at him with those violet eyes. "I am sorry. I should not have come here. But I had nowhere else to go. My ship crashed. You were the first light I saw." Daehyun finished bandaging her wounds. His mind raced. An alien princess, assassins, poison. This was so far beyond his simple life that it felt like a bad movie. "You need a hospital. Real doctors." "No," she said urgently, grabbing his arm. Her grip was weak but insistent. They will find me. They have scanners. They will kill anyone who helps me. Please, just one night. By morning, my people will find me. Just one night, he should refuse. He should be smart about this. But when he looked at her, he did not see a princess or an alien or a political problem. He saw someone scared and hurt and alone. He knew that feeling too well. One night, he agreed. But you need to rest. I will keep watch. Relief flooded her face. Thank you, human. What is your name? Daehyun. Daehyun, she repeated, testing the sounds. You are kind. In my world, kindness like this is rare. People always want something. I do not want anything, he said simply. You needed help. That is enough. She studied him for a long moment as if trying to understand a puzzle. Then she closed her eyes. Within minutes, her breathing became slow and steady. She was asleep or unconscious. Daehyun was not sure which. He sat in his chair across from the couch, wrenched still in his lap, and watched the rain continue to fall. Outside, the city lights flickered. Somewhere out there, assassins were hunting. Tomorrow would bring trouble. He was certain of that, but tonight he had done the right thing. Even if it was stupid, even if it was dangerous, it was right. His father had taught him that. Sometimes the right choice and the smart choice were not the same thing. Daehyun looked at the sleeping princess on his couch and wondered what he had gotten himself into. Whatever happened next, his quiet life was over. He just hoped they both survived long enough to see the morning. Morning light crept through the apartment windows. Daehyun had not slept. He sat in his chair, watching Nari throughout the long night. Every sound from outside made him tense. Every footstep in the hallway made his hand tighten on the wrench. But no assassins came. No one knocked on his door. Nari stirred as the sun touched her face. Her eyes opened slowly, those strange violet eyes that seemed to glow in the light. She looked around, confused for a moment, then saw Daehyun watching her. You stayed awake, she said. It was not a question. Someone needed to keep watch. She sat up slowly, touching her bandaged wounds. Her face showed surprise. The pain is less, much less. She lifted her shirt slightly to look at the bandages. How is this possible? The poison should keep me weak for days. Daehyun shrugged. Maybe human medicine works differently. Or maybe you are stronger than you think. Nari carefully removed one bandage. Underneath, the wound had already closed. The skin was still pink and new, but there was no more bleeding. This should be impossible. The poison was designed to stop all healing. But somehow... She looked at Daehyun with wonder. What did you use? Just basic first aid. Cleaning solution, antibacterial cream, bandages. Nothing special. Nothing special, she repeated, touching the healed wound. Your human medicine works on a poison that was made to stop Velen healing. That should not be possible. She seemed fascinated rather than concerned. Daehyun stood up and stretched. His back hurt from sitting all night. Are you hungry? I do not have much, but I can make something. Hungry? Nari tilted her head. Yes, I think I am. What do humans eat? 20 minutes later, they sat at his small kitchen table. Daehyun had made instant noodles and scrambled eggs. It was simple food, bachelor food, but it was what he had. Nari stared at her bowl like it was a scientific experiment. You just add hot water? She asked, and wait 3 minutes. It is not fancy, but it fills the stomach. Nari carefully tried a bite. Her eyes widened. This is good. Simple but good. In my palace, every meal takes hours to prepare. Chefs use ingredients from 12 different worlds. But this? She took another bite. This is honest food. Daehyun found himself smiling. Never thought I would hear a princess call instant noodles honest food. They ate in comfortable silence for a while. Outside, the city was waking up. Flying cars hummed past the window. Delivery drones buzzed by. Life continued as normal, unaware that an alien princess sat in this tiny apartment. Tell me about your brother, Daehyun said finally. Why does he want to kill you? Nari's expression darkened. Taeyang was always ambitious, but ambition alone is not evil. What changed him was fear. He believes the Velen sovereignty is dying. Our empire has been peaceful for 300 years. We trade with other species, share technology, avoid conflict. Taeyang thinks this makes us weak. And you? What do you think? I think peace is not weakness. But many in our military agree with Taeyang. They want to expand through conquest. They look at worlds like Earth and see resources to take. They see humans as primitive, easy to dominate. Daehyun felt a chill. So your civil war could become our war. Yes, if Taeyang wins, humanity will be in danger. He will use Earth as a testing ground for his military theories. He will take what he wants and destroy anyone who resists. Nari looked down at her hands. I discovered his plans. I tried to warn my father, the sovereign, but Taeyang found out. He poisoned me at a state dinner and sent assassins to finish the job. I barely escaped in a scout ship. And you crashed here. Your planet has good defensive systems. They damaged my ship. I had no choice but to land. And then I saw your light. She met his eyes. You saved me, Daehyun. Not because of politics or strategy. You saved me because it was right. I have never met anyone like you. Before Daehyun could respond, his apartment's security system beeped. Someone was in the hallway outside, scanning doors. His blood went cold. Get down, he whispered. Nari moved instantly, sliding off the chair and crawling behind the kitchen counter. Daehyun grabbed his tablet and pulled up the hallway camera feed. Two figures stood outside, checking each apartment door with handheld devices. They wore normal street clothes, but their movements were too precise, too professional. Assassins? He asked quietly. Probably scouts, Nari said. Looking for my biosignature. They will scan every building in this district until they find me. How long do we have? Minutes. Maybe less. They are very efficient. Daehyun's mind raced. His apartment was on the 34th floor. Too high to escape through the window. The hallway was the only exit, and the scouts were right outside. Think, he told himself. You work with broken machines every day. Solve the problem, your armor, he said suddenly. Does it have a power source? Yes, a small fusion core. Why? Can you overload it? Make it emit a false signal? Nari's eyes lit up with understanding. Yes, it will not last long, but it might confuse their scanners. She touched her collar and the armor began to materialize again, flowing over her body like liquid metal. Her fingers moved across panels that appeared in the air around her. Done. The signal will pulse for 5 minutes, bouncing between buildings. It will look like I am moving randomly through the district. Good. We need to move now while they are confused. He grabbed a jacket and his work bag. Inside were tools, spare parts, and his old military ID card. Might be useful, might not, but he took it anyway. Nari's armor retracted again, leaving her in the black suit. They moved to the door. Daehyun checked the camera. The scouts were looking at their devices, confused. One pointed down the hallway. They moved away from his door. Now, he whispered. They slipped out and headed for the emergency stairs, 34 floors down. Daehyun's legs would hate him tomorrow, but they had no choice. The elevators kept records. The stairs were anonymous. They made it to the 20th floor before they heard footsteps above them. Fast footsteps, running. The scouts had realized the trick. Faster, Daehyun urged. They burst out on the 10th floor and ran through the hallway. Daehyun knew this building. He had lived here for 6 years. There was a maintenance access on this floor, leading to the underground service tunnels. He had used them before during repairs. He found the access panel and pried it open with his wrench. In now, Nari squeezed through. Daehyun followed, pulling the panel shut behind them. They dropped into darkness. His hands found the ladder automatically. They climbed down into the tunnel system beneath the building. Above them, they heard the scouts reach the access panel. Voices spoke in a language Daehyun did not understand. Then silence. Will they follow? He whispered. No, Nari said. They are trained for space combat and assassination. Urban tunnels are not their specialty. They will report my location and wait for reinforcements. Then we need to move. I know someone who can help us. Someone from my military days. They moved through the tunnels, following maintenance lights deeper into the city's underground. Daehyun led the way and Nari followed close behind. An alien princess following a human scavenger through the sewers. If someone had told him this would happen yesterday, he would have laughed. Daehyun, Nari said as they walked. Why do you keep helping me? You could turn me in. Collect a reward. Live safely. He did not even slow down, because it is the right thing to do. But you gain nothing. Maybe. But I do not lose anything either. My conscience stays clean. Behind him, Nari was quiet. Then she said softly, in my world, everyone wants something. Power, money, status. No one does anything without calculating the benefit. You are different. Humans are different. We are not all heroes, Daehyun said. Most of us are just trying to get by. But when someone needs help, you help. That is not being special. That is just being human. The tunnel stretched ahead of them, dark and endless. But Daehyun knew the way, and for the first time since this began, he felt like they might actually survive this. The tunnel smelled of oil and old concrete. Water dripped somewhere in the darkness. Daehyun counted his steps carefully, remembering the path from years of maintenance work. Behind him, Nari moved silently despite her injuries. She was adapting fast. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Earth Defense Force outpost in the Industrial District. I have a friend there, Jiwoo. We served together during the border conflicts. If anyone can help us, it is her." They emerged from the tunnels 3 kilometers away from his apartment. The Industrial District was all factories and warehouses, less populated than the residential zones. Easier to move without being seen. Daehyun led them through back alleys, avoiding main streets and cameras. The EDF outpost was a small building, mostly just a communications hub and supply depot. Not a real base, but it had security and military-grade scanners. Jiwoo would be on duty now. She worked the morning shift. Daehyun approached the side entrance and used his old military ID. To his relief, the door clicked open. Some things never changed. He pulled Nari inside quickly. The hallway was empty. Good. They moved deeper into the building until they found the communications room. Jiwoo sat at her console, monitoring feeds from across the city. She was 30 years old, tough and practical, with short black hair and tired eyes that had seen too much combat. "Daehyun?" She stood up, surprised. "What are you doing here? And who is—" Her eyes locked on Nari. Her hand moved toward her sidearm. "That is an alien. An unregistered alien. Jiwoo, wait, please, just listen. This is serious, Daehyun. Do you have any idea what trouble this could bring? There are protocols, laws. You cannot just bring an alien into a military facility. Her name is Nari. She is a Velen princess, and she is being hunted by assassins who will kill anyone who helps her." Jiwoo's expression did not change, but her hand moved away from her weapon. "Explain, fast." Daehyun told her everything. The crash, the wounds, the civil war and the Velen sovereignty, the threat to Earth if the militants won. Nari added details when needed, her translator perfectly converting her words to Korean. When they finished, Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. Then she cursed under her breath and returned to her console. "This is above my rank. Way above. But if what you are saying is true, we need to verify it." She pulled up identification protocols and pointed a scanner at Nari. "Stay still, please." The scanner hummed. Data flowed across the screen. Jiwoo's eyes widened.
"She is telling the truth."
Biosignature matches Velen royal family records. Identity confirmed as Princess Nari, second in line to the sovereignty. She looked at Daehyun. "You have been hiding an alien princess in your apartment. You really know how to pick your battles. Will you help us?" Daehyun asked Jiwoo's side. "I should report this immediately. But if the Velen militants are planning to attack Earth, we need to know more. And if she dies, we lose our only inside source." She made her decision. "I will help. But we need to keep you hidden until loyalist forces can extract her. That means a safe house. I know a place." She gathered supplies quickly. Weapons, medical kits, communication devices. Then she led them to a military transport vehicle in the garage. "Get in the back. Stay quiet." The safe house was an abandoned factory on the edge of the industrial zone. Years ago it made ship components. Now it was just empty space and old machinery. But it had power, water, and no official records. Perfect for hiding. Jiwoo set up basic security while Daehyun helped Nari sit down. She was looking pale again. The running had reopened one of her wounds. "Let me see," he said gently. She lifted her shirt. The wound was bleeding, but not badly. He cleaned it again and applied fresh bandages. Her skin was already trying to heal. The poison was wearing off. "You are good at this," Nari said. "Taking care of injuries. Learned in the military. War teaches you many useful things. You fought in a war, but you were so young. The border conflicts ended 10 years ago. I was 18 when I enlisted. Saw 2 years of combat before the peace treaty." He did not mention that the war took his family. Some memories were too heavy to share. Jiwoo returned with a device that looked like a modified scanner. "I made this from spare parts. It should mask your biosignature. Not perfect, but it will make finding you harder." She attached it to Nari's collar. "There, now you're just background noise." "Thank you," Nari said. "Your kindness is unexpected. Do not thank me yet. We are not safe." Jiwoo pulled up a holographic display. I am monitoring alien activity across the city. There are at least 6 Velen ships in orbit now. Small attack craft. They are scanning systematically. They brought an entire strike team, Nari said grimly. My brother is very thorough. Can you contact your loyalist forces? Jiwoo asked. I can try, but it will take time. They are scattered across the Empire fighting their own battles, and any message I send might be intercepted. Then we wait, and we prepare. Jiwoo started unpacking weapons. Daehyun, can you still shoot? It has been years, but yes. Good, because I think we are going to need every advantage we can get. The next few hours were tense. They took turns on watch while sending encrypted messages to Nari's allies. Daehyun used the time to go through the factory's old equipment. Years of salvage work made him good at finding useful things in scrap. He found old plasma cutters, industrial welders, and power cells. Not weapons exactly, but they could be. He also found pieces of old ship armor and structural supports. With some work, they could fortify their position. Nari watched him work with fascination. You are turning garbage into defenses. One person's garbage is another person's survival gear, Daehyun said, attaching a power cell to a welding arm. We might not have fancy alien technology, but we have tools, and we know how to use them. This is what makes humans dangerous, Nari said thoughtfully. Not your weapons or your technology, your ability to adapt, to make something from nothing. In my empire, we rely on our advanced systems. If they fail, we are helpless. But you humans, you just find another way. We have to, Daehyun said simply. We are not the strongest species. We are not the smartest. We are not the most advanced. But we survive. That is what we do best. Night fell. Jiwoo had managed to set up a secure communication line. A message came through from loyalist forces. They would send an extraction team, but it would take 3 days to reach Earth safely. 3 days of hiding and hoping the assassins did not find them. Daehyun was checking the perimeter when the alarm went off. Jiwoo's scanner lit up with red warnings. Multiple contacts approaching the factory fast. They found us, Jiwoo said, grabbing her rifle. I count 8 hostiles, military-grade armor and weapons. This is going to be bad. Daehyun picked up his improvised plasma cutter. It was heavy and awkward, but it could cut through metal. That meant it could cut through armor. Nari, stay in the back room, he said. We will hold them off. No. She stood up, her violet eyes burning with determination. I will not hide while others fight for me. Give me a weapon. Jiwoo tossed her a spare pistol. Can you shoot? I am Velen royalty. I was trained in combat from childhood. Good enough. The first assassin came through the door. Jiwoo shot twice. The armor absorbed the shots, but the impact staggered the attacker. Daehyun rushed forward with the plasma cutter and sliced through the assassin's leg armor. The assassin fell. More came through. The factory erupted with gunfire and shouts. Daehyun ducked behind a support beam as energy bolts burned past his head. This was exactly like the war. The fear, the adrenaline, the desperate need to survive. But this time, he was not fighting for territory or politics. He was fighting for someone who needed help. That made it different. That made it matter. Nari shot with precision, each bullet finding gaps in armor that should not have been possible to hit. She moved like a dancer, fast and graceful despite her injuries. Jiwoo provided covering fire, her military training showing in every motion, and Daehyun used everything he knew. He activated the old welding arms, sending sparks and fire across the factory floor. He overloaded power cells to create explosions. He turned the entire building into a weapon. The assassins had better technology, better armor, better weapons, but they were fighting on human ground now. And humans were very good at using their environment. One by one, the assassins fell or retreated. When the last one fled, the factory was a mess of smoke and damaged machinery. But they were alive. Is everyone okay? Daehyun asked, breathing hard. I am fine, Jiwoo said, checking her rifle. I am... Nari swayed and Daehyun caught her before she fell. One of her wounds had opened badly. She was losing blood fast. We need to stop the bleeding, Jiwoo said urgently. Daehyun laid Nari down gently. Her violet eyes looked up at him, unfocused. I am sorry, she whispered. I brought this danger to you. You did not bring anything, Daehyun said firmly, pressing bandages against her wound. You needed help. That is all that matters. Now stay with me. 3 days. Just 3 more days, Nari smiled weakly. You humans. So stubborn. So impossible. Her eyes closed. Above them, through the factory's broken ceiling, Dae-hyun could see alien ships circling in the night sky like predators. 3 days. They just had to survive 3 more days. Nari woke up to the smell of instant coffee. Her wound had been bandaged again, and she felt stronger. The poison was almost completely gone from her system now. Whatever human medicine Dae-hyun had used, it worked better than anything her people had developed. She opened her eyes and saw him sitting nearby, watching the sunrise through a broken window. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, dirt and blood on his clothes, but he was alert, keeping watch. "You should sleep," she said. He turned to her and a tired smile crossed his face. "You are awake. That is good. How do you feel?" "Better. The healing is working again." She sat up carefully. "You stayed awake again. Someone has to keep watch. Ji-woo is checking the perimeter. We take turns." Nari studied him in the morning light. This human who kept saving her life. He was not particularly strong or fast. His technology was primitive compared to her empire's. But there was something about him that made him more dangerous than any warrior she had known. He adapted. He improvised. He never gave up. "I do not understand you," she said finally. "Last night you fought trained assassins with tools and scrap metal. You should have died. We all should have died. But somehow you won." Dae-hyun shrugged. "We got lucky." "No, it was not luck. It was something else. Something that makes humans different." She looked at her hands. "In my empire we have advanced technology, powerful weapons, superior ships. But we rely on these things. When they fail, we fail. You humans do not have that problem. You just find another way. Always another way." "Maybe that is because we have to," Dae-hyun said. "We are not the strongest or the smartest, so we become the most stubborn." Ji-woo returned before Nari could respond. She carried a bag of supplies. "Got food and water from the EDF depot. Also, I sent another message to your loyalist forces. They are still 2 days out. But I have bad news. What is it?" Nari asked. "More Velen ships arrived in orbit. Looks like they are deploying something big. My contacts say it is a war construct. Class 7 combat mech, 30 meters tall, armed with plasma cannons and energy shields." Dae-hyun felt his blood run cold. He had seen footage of war constructs during his military training. They were designed to destroy entire city blocks. Nothing Earth had could stop them. "They are going to use it to find me," Nari said quietly. "They will tear the city apart until I am found." "Can we evacuate the district?" Dae-hyun asked Ji-woo. "Already happening. EDF is moving civilians, but it will take hours. And if that construct starts attacking, hours is time we do not have." "Then we need to stop it," Dae-hyun said. Both women looked at him like he was crazy. "Stop it?" Ji-woo repeated. "It is a war construct. We have rifles and improvised weapons. How exactly do you plan to stop it?" "Same way I stopped those assassins. Find its weakness, exploit it, use the environment. This is not a few soldiers, Dae-hyun. This is a walking battleship. Everything has a weakness. Every machine has a point of failure." He turned to Nari. "You know these constructs. What are their vulnerabilities?" Nari thought for a moment. "The power core is in the chest cavity. It is heavily shielded. But if you could overload it somehow, the entire construct would collapse. But you would need to get inside first, and the outer armor is nearly impenetrable." "Nearly?" Dae-hyun latched onto the word. "There are maintenance hatches. For repairs. But they are small and locked with royal security codes." "Which you know." "Yes, but even if we could get inside, the core is protected by multiple systems. It would take hours to overload it manually." "What if we did not do it manually?" Dae-hyun's mind was racing now, solving the problem like he solved broken machines at work. "What if we use the construct's own power against it?" "Explain," Nari said, leaning forward. "These constructs have plasma weapons, right? That means they generate massive amounts of energy. What if we redirected that energy back into the core, created a feedback loop?" Nari's eyes widened. "That could work, in theory. But you would need to physically connect the weapon systems to the core, and you would need to be inside while the weapons were firing. So we make it fire at itself." "Suicide," Ji-woo said flatly. "You are describing suicide." "Maybe. Or maybe we get in, set it up, and get out before it explodes." "This is insane. Do you have a better idea?" Ji-woo was quiet. Then she cursed and started checking her weapons. "I hate that you are right. When do we start? Now?" before they deploy the construct into the residential districts. They spent the next hour planning. Jiwoo would coordinate with EDF forces to create a distraction. Nari would use her royal codes to open the maintenance hatches, and Daehyun would use his salvage expertise to rig the power systems. "You know this probably will not work," Jiwoo said as they prepared. "Probably," Daehyun agreed. "But we have to try." Nari touched his arm. "Why? Why do you risk your life for my people's war?" "Because if we do not, innocent people will die. Human, Velen, does not matter. They are all just people trying to live their lives. They deserve better than to be crushed by politics and war machines." The construct arrived in the industrial district 2 hours later. It was massive, a towering figure of metal and energy that made the ground shake with each step. Plasma cannons charged on its shoulders. Energy shields rippled around its form. EDF forces engaged immediately. Rifles and rockets bounced off the shields harmlessly. The construct responded with devastating fire, turning buildings to rubble. "There," Daehyun pointed, "the maintenance hatch on the left leg. Can you reach it?" "If you get me close enough," Nari said. They moved through the rubble. Jiwoo provided covering fire, drawing the construct's attention. Daehyun and Nari ran beneath its massive legs, dodging falling debris. Nari pressed her hand against the hatch. Royal codes flowed from her armor. The hatch clicked open. "Go, fast!" They climbed inside. The interior was hot and cramped, filled with cables and machinery. Daehyun followed Nari through the narrow passages, climbing toward the core chamber. They reached it within minutes. The power core pulsed with blue light, contained behind multiple layers of shielding. Daehyun studied it quickly. His hands moved over the panels, understanding the systems. All machines spoke the same language. "Find the input. Find the output. Connect them. The weapon feed lines," he said. "If I route them through the cooling system and back into the core, it should create the feedback loop. But we need the weapons to fire at maximum power." "How do we do that?" Nari asked. "Give it a target it cannot ignore." He pulled out his communicator and called Jiwoo. "We need you to mark our position with a targeting laser. Make the construct think we are the biggest threat. That will make it fire everything it has at you." "Exactly. Just give us 60 seconds to get out." "You are all insane. Marking position now." Daehyun's hands moved fast, connecting cables and rerouting power flows. Years of salvage work made this almost automatic. Find the connections. Make the machine do what you want. Every construct was just a big, complicated puzzle. "Done," he said. "When it fires, the energy will flow backward into the core. The shields will collapse inward. The whole thing will eat itself. We have maybe 30 seconds after the first shot." Outside, Jiwoo's laser painted their position. Alarms blared throughout the construct. "Weapon systems charged. Run," Daehyun said. They ran. Back through the passages, down the narrow ladders toward the leg hatch. Behind them, they heard the weapons fire. The construct shuddered. Power surged through the systems. They jumped out of the hatch just as the feedback loop reached critical. The construct froze. Its shields flickered. Then its chest erupted with blue fire. Daehyun grabbed Nari and pulled her behind a concrete barrier. The explosion was enormous. The construct collapsed, folding in on itself as the core consumed everything from the inside. When the smoke cleared, the war machine was just smoking rubble. Jiwoo ran up to them, breathing hard. "That was the most reckless thing I have ever seen. And I fought in the border conflicts." Daehyun grinned despite his exhaustion. "Did it work?" "Obviously. The construct is scrap." She looked at Nari. "Your people must really hate when humans get creative." Nari stared at the destroyed machine, then at Daehyun. "You took down a war construct with basic tools and improvisation. My brother sent his most powerful weapon and you turned it into junk." She started laughing. It was not a happy laugh. It was the laugh of someone realizing they had underestimated everything. "Humans, you beautiful, impossible, stubborn humans. Now I understand why Taeyang fears you." "Fears us?" Daehyun asked. "Yes, because you cannot be predicted. You cannot be controlled. You do not follow the rules. You make up new ones." She looked at him seriously. "That is your real weapon. Not technology or strength. Your unpredictability. Your refusal to give up. That is what makes you dangerous." The sun was setting now. One more day until extraction. One more day to survive. But for the first time, Daehyun thought they might actually make it. The news spread fast. Within hours, every screen in Seoul showed footage of the destroyed war construct. A human salvage worker and an alien princess had brought down the most advanced combat machine in known space. Media outlets called it a miracle. Military analysts called it impossible. But the evidence was there, smoking in the industrial district. Dae-hyun became famous overnight. His face was everywhere. Journalists camped outside his apartment building asking for interviews. The government wanted to give him a medal. Some people called him a hero. Others called him a fool for getting involved with alien politics. He hated all of it. "I just want to go back to work," he told Ji-woo as they watched the news from a new safe house. This one was an old shipping container yard. Less comfortable than the factory, but easier to defend. "Too late for that," Ji-woo said. "You are a symbol now. Human-alien cooperation. The little guy who stood up to an empire. You represent something bigger than yourself." "I did not ask to represent anything. I just helped someone who needed help." Nari sat nearby, unusually quiet. She had been watching the news too, but her expression was troubled. Her wounds were completely healed now. The poison was gone. She was physically ready to leave Earth, but something held her back. "The Loyalist forces will be here tomorrow," she said finally. "They sent confirmation an hour ago. An extraction team will take me to the fleet. Then I will return to the sovereignty and lead the resistance against my brother." "That is good news," Dae-hyun said, but something in his chest felt heavy. "Is it?" Nari looked at him. "I will leave and you will stay. We will probably never see each other again. Different worlds. Different lives." The container yard was silent except for distant city sounds. Ji-woo quietly excused herself, claiming she needed to check the perimeter. She was giving them privacy. Dae-hyun did not know what to say. These past few days had been the most intense of his life, fighting assassins, destroying war machines. But somewhere in all that chaos he had started to care about Nari, not as a princess or a symbol, but as a person. Someone brave and curious and kind despite being raised in a culture that valued none of those things. "You have people counting on you," he said finally. "Your empire needs you. You have to go, I know, but I do not want to." Nari stood up and walked to the window. Outside, Earth city lights glowed against the night sky. "In my entire life, I never had a choice. I was born royal. My path was decided. My duty was clear. But these past few days with you, I felt something different. Freedom. The ability to choose my own actions. To help someone without political calculations. To fight alongside someone who saw me as a person, not a title. Nari, in my culture, we do not allow ourselves to feel attachments, especially royalty. Emotions are considered weakness. But you humans, you embrace your emotions. You let them guide you. And somehow that makes you stronger, not weaker." She turned to face him. "I think I am falling in love with you, Dae-hyun. And I do not know what to do about that." Dae-hyun's heart pounded. He had felt it too, but had not let himself acknowledge it. She was a princess. He was a salvage worker. Their worlds were impossibly far apart. "I care about you too," he admitted. "But that does not change reality. You have a duty. Your people need you to stop this civil war. And what about what I need? What I want? Sometimes what we want and what we must do are not the same thing. You taught me that when you told me about your brother, about the threat to Earth. You came here not because you wanted to, but because you had to warn us. That was duty. That was responsibility." Nari's eyes glistened with tears, felon tears, he realized. They glowed faintly in the darkness. "I hate that you are right. I hate that the responsible choice means leaving you. But you are correct. If I stay, Taeyang wins. Earth becomes a war zone. Everything you fought to protect dies. Then you know what you have to do." "Yes." She walked to him and took his hands. "But I want you to know something. You changed me. I came to Earth thinking humans were primitive, limited. But you showed me that advancement is not about technology. It is about character, about doing what is right even when it is hard, about caring for others even when there is no benefit. Those are the things that make humans special, and you are the most special human I have ever met." Before Dae-hyun could respond, alarms blared. Ji-woo burst through the door. "We have a problem. Multiple Velen ships just broke atmosphere. They are not loyalists. How many?" Nari asked, instantly switching to tactical mode. 10 assault ships, and they are heading straight for us. Someone leaked our location." "Taeyang," Nari said grimly. "He wants to finish this before the extraction team arrives. If he kills me now, the resistance falls apart." They grabbed weapons and prepared to defend their position. But Daehyun knew they could not win this time. 10 assault ships meant hundreds of soldiers. Even with his improvisation and Nari's skills, the numbers were too great. "We need to split up," he said. "Draw them in different directions. They want Nari. If I can make them think she went another way—" "No," Nari said firmly. "We stay together. That is stupid and you know it. Your people need you alive, so we make sure you survive." Before Nari could argue, a new alarm sounded. But this one was different. Jiwoo checked her scanner and her eyes went wide. "We have more ships incoming. Loyalist signatures. They are early." "How early?" Nari asked. "They are here. Now." Engaging the assault ships in orbit. Through the window, they could see lights in the sky. Ships fighting above the city. Plasma fire lit up the clouds like lightning. The battle had come to Earth. A communication came through Nari's armor. A voice spoke in the Velen language. Nari listened, then replied quickly. When she finished, she looked at Daehyun with a mixture of hope and dread. "The extraction team is landing nearby, but Tae-yang is with the assault forces. He is coming here personally. He wants to end this himself." "Brother against sister," Jiwoo said. "This is about to get very personal." Minutes later, a Velen shuttle touched down in the container yard. Soldiers in gleaming armor poured out, forming a defensive perimeter. An officer approached Nari and saluted. "Your Highness, we are here to take you to safety." "What about my human friends?" Nari asked. "They should come with us. The battle is intensifying. This entire district will be destroyed if we do not evacuate." "Then we go," Nari said. "All of us." They ran for the shuttle. Daehyun had never been on an alien ship before. It was beautiful inside, all smooth surfaces and glowing panels, so different from the crude human technology he knew. But before they could lift off, a massive ship descended directly above them. It was larger than the others, marked with royal insignia. A voice boomed across all frequencies. Tae-yang's voice. "Nari, little sister, did you really think you could hide on this primitive world forever? Come out and face me. Let us end this the proper way. Single combat. If you win, my forces stand down. If I win, your resistance dies with you." Nari's face hardened. "He is invoking the ancient laws. I cannot refuse without being seen as a coward. If I refuse, his forces will attack this city anyway. But if I accept, it is just him and me. Win or lose, the battle ends here." "That is not a fair fight," Daehyun said. "He is fresh. You just spent days injured and running. Fair or not, it is the law. And it gives Earth a chance. If the battle stays between Velens, your people are spared." She turned to the loyalist officer. "Accept his challenge. Tell him I will face him." "Nari, no." Daehyun grabbed her arm. "You do not have to do this." "Yes, I do. Because it is the right thing to do." She smiled at him, sad and beautiful. "You taught me that. Doing what is right even when it is hard. Even when there is no good choice. That is what makes us better than our circumstances." She kissed him then, a brief gentle kiss that held all the feelings they could not express in words. Then she pulled away and walked toward the exit. "I will come back," she promised. "If I survive, I will find you. And if I do not, thank you. For everything. For showing me what it means to truly live." Daehyun wanted to follow her, wanted to fight beside her. But Jiwoo held him back. This is her fight now. Her world's rules. All we can do is watch and hope. Outside in the center of the container yard, Nari faced her brother. Tae-yang was tall and imposing in his royal armor, every inch the warrior prince. But Nari stood straight despite her exhaustion, despite the odds. She had learned from humans, and humans never gave up. The duel began, and Daehyun could only watch, his heart in his throat, as the woman he loved fought for both their worlds. The container yard became an arena. Tae-yang and Nari faced each other across 20 meters of concrete. Above them, Velen ships held position, weapons ready but not firing. Ancient law demanded non-interference. This was between royal siblings now. Between two visions of what their empire should be. Daehyun watched from the shuttle entrance. His hands gripped the doorframe so hard his knuckles turned white. Jiwoo stood beside him, her rifle lowered but ready. Around them, loyalist soldiers maintained their perimeter, eyes scanning the sky. "She is exhausted," Daehyun said. "Days of running, fighting, healing from poison. She is not at full strength." "No," Jiwoo agreed. "But she has something he does not. She has fought beside humans. She has learned from us. That might be enough." Tae-yang activated his armor. It flowed over his body like living metal, gleaming and powerful. Energy shields sparked to life around him. Plasma blades extended from his gauntlets. He looked like a god of war, perfect and terrifying. "You should have stayed hidden, little sister," he called out. "You were always too weak for leadership. Too emotional. Too concerned with others instead of power. That is why I will rule. That is why our empire will become strong again." Nari activated her own armor. It was damaged from days of combat, patched together with human materials. It did not gleam like Tae Yang's. It looked rough, functional, imperfect, but it was real in a way his perfection could never be. "You are wrong, brother," she said calmly. "I was weak once. I believed that emotions made me inferior. But I learned something here on Earth with humans. Emotions are not weakness. They are strength. Caring about others is not foolishness. It is wisdom. And that is something you will never understand. Then you will die foolish," Taeyang attacked. He was fast, enhanced by his armor and years of warrior training. His plasma blades cut through the air in precise arcs designed to kill quickly and efficiently. Nari dodged. But barely. She was slower than she should be. The exhaustion showed in her movements. Taeyang pressed his advantage, forcing her backward with a series of strikes that would have killed anyone else. "See?" Taeyang said. "You are weak, fragile. You spent too much time with these primitive humans and now you fight like them. Desperate, inefficient, doomed." Nari blocked a strike that nearly took her head off. "You are right. I do fight like them now, and that is exactly why I will win." She dropped low, sweeping Taeyang's legs in a move that no Velen warrior would ever use. It was a human fighting technique, simple and direct. Taeyang stumbled, surprised. Nari used the moment to strike at his knee joint where the armor was thinnest. Taeyang recovered quickly, but his perfect stance was broken. "Tricks, that is all humans have. Tricks and luck, not tricks," Nari said. "Adaptation. You fight the way you were trained. The same patterns, the same techniques, the same predictable movements. But I learned to improvise, to change, to use whatever works, not just what is proper." She attacked now, mixing Velen combat forms with human tactics. High strikes followed by low sweeps. Plasma blade attacks mixed with simple punches and kicks. Nothing about her style was elegant or traditional. But it was effective. Taeyang was confused. He had trained his entire life for proper combat, for honorable duels using ancient techniques. But Nari was not fighting properly. She was fighting to win. Daehyun watched in amazement. She was using everything she had learned. The improvisation he used on machines. The adaptability humans needed to survive. The willingness to look foolish if it meant success. She was fighting like a human, but with Velen power. "She is going to do it," Jiwoo whispered. "She is actually going to win." But Taeyang was not finished. He activated his armor's full power, shields blazing bright. "Enough games. I will end this now." He unleashed everything. Plasma bolts, energy waves. His armor's weapon systems fired in a continuous barrage. Nari's shields buckled under the assault. She was forced to her knees. "This is what real power looks like," Taeyang said, walking toward her slowly. "Superior technology, superior training, superior will. Your human friends gave you false hope. But hope does not stop plasma. Hope does not break shields. Hope does not win wars." Nari looked up at him. Blood ran from her mouth. Her armor was cracked and failing. She was beaten, but she was smiling. "You are right," she said. "Hope alone is not enough. But you know what is? Friends, allies, people who care about you enough to help you even when it is stupid." Daehyun's communicator buzzed. It was a simple device, barely compatible with Velen technology. But on the screen was a schematic, a detailed diagram of Taeyang's armor. Every system, every power flow, every weakness. The message was from Jiwoo. Scanned his armor when he landed. Sending the data to Nari's systems now. Tell her to hit the primary power coupling. Left shoulder behind the shield generator. Daehyun looked at Jiwoo. "That is interference. The laws forbid outside help in a duel, so?" Jiwoo shrugged. "We are human. We do not follow their laws. We make our own rules," Daehyun laughed. It was insane. It was cheating. It was perfect. He activated his communicator and sent the data to Nari's armor. Left shoulder, behind the shield. "Hit it now." Nari saw the data flash across her display. She understood immediately. As Taeyang raised his blade for the killing strike, she threw one of Daehyun's improvised EMP devices. It was small, crude, built from salvaged parts. But it worked. The EMP burst disrupted Taeyang's shields for just a second. Just long enough. Nari surged forward with her last strength and drove her plasma blade into his left shoulder, right into the primary power coupling. Taeyang's armor seized up. All systems failed at once. He fell, unable to move inside his own suddenly dead armor. Nari stood over him, her blade at his throat. "Impossible," he gasped. "You cheated. You used human technology. You broke the sacred laws of combat." "Yes," Nari said simply. "I learned that from humans too. When the rules are unjust, you change them. When the system is broken, you fix it. And when someone tells you that you cannot win, you prove them wrong." She deactivated her blade. "I am not going to kill you, brother. Because I also learned mercy from humans. You will stand trial for your crimes. The Empire will decide your fate, but I will not become you. I will not rule through fear and death." Around them, the militant ships began to withdraw. Their leader had fallen. The ancient laws demanded they surrender. The civil war was over. Loyalist soldiers rushed forward to secure Taeyang. Medical teams attended to Nari, but she pushed them away and walked toward the shuttle. Toward Daehyun, he ran to meet her. They collided in an embrace that ignored protocol, ignored the watching soldiers, ignored everything except the overwhelming relief of survival. "You did it," he said. "You won." "We won," she corrected. "You and Jiwoo gave me the opening I needed. Without your help, I would be dead. But the laws, I do not care about the laws anymore, or at least not those laws. I will make new ones. Better ones. Laws that value cooperation over domination, that see strength in caring for others, that recognize humans as equals, not primitives to be conquered." Jiwoo approached, grinning. "So I guess we just helped change the course of an interstellar empire. That is going on my resume." More ships were landing now. Diplomatic vessels. The Velen sovereign himself was coming, Nari's father, ready to formally end the civil war. Earth's government was sending representatives. This moment would change everything between the two species. But right now, in this moment, Daehyun did not care about politics or history. He just held Nari and felt grateful that she was alive. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now I return to my empire. I take my place as sovereign. Taeyang will be tried and the militants will be disbanded. Then I will rebuild our civilization based on what I learned here. Cooperation, innovation, the courage to change." She looked up at him. "But I will need advisors. People who understand how to adapt, how to solve impossible problems with simple solutions, how to make something from nothing." "Are you asking me to come with you?" Daehyun could barely believe it, "Not just you, humans in general. Your species has something mine has lost. The ability to grow, to change, to surprise even yourselves. We need that. I need that. And I need you." Jiwoo cleared her throat. "I hate to interrupt this moment, but the Sovereign's ship is landing. You should probably look presentable for meeting your father. Maybe wipe off some of that blood," Nari laughed. It was a sound of pure joy, something Daehyun had never heard from her before. "Yes, I should probably look like a proper sovereign. But first I have a question." She turned to Daehyun. "Do you remember the first thing I asked you? May I stay here for the night?" "Yes, now I am asking something different. Will you stay with me? Not for a night. For as long as you want. For however long this lasts. Will you help me build a better empire? Will you show my people what it means to be human?" Daehyun looked at this alien princess who had crashed into his life just days ago. She had changed everything. His quiet life was gone forever. But in its place was something incredible: adventure, purpose, love. "Yes," he said. "I will stay with you." Above them, human and Velen ships hovered side by side, no longer enemies but allies. It was a new beginning. For two species. For two worlds. For two people who proved that the greatest strength was not technology or weapons, but the courage to care. 3 months had passed since that day in the container yard. 3 months since Nari defeated her brother and ended the civil war. 3 months since Earth and the Velen sovereignty signed the historic treaty that changed everything between their species. Daehyun stood on the balcony of his apartment. The same balcony where this had all started. Rain fell like that night, gentle and steady, washing the city clean. But everything else was different now. Below, the streets were filled with both humans and Velens walking together without fear. Cultural exchange programs brought Velen students to Earth universities. Human engineers worked alongside Velen scientists on joint projects. The barriers between species were falling, slowly but surely. His apartment had not changed much. He refused the government's offer of a bigger place, a reward for his role in preventing a war. This small space with its broken pots and instant noodles felt like home. Some things did not need to change. The door chimed. Daehyun smiled and went to answer it. He already knew who it was. Nari stood in the hallway wearing simple human clothes instead of her royal armor. Jeans and a sweater, her silver-streaked hair pulled back in a casual ponytail. She looked nothing like a sovereign. She looked like a person. That was exactly what she wanted. "You came," he said. "Did you doubt I would?" She stepped inside and looked around the apartment like she was seeing it for the first time. "I miss this place. It is small and simple and perfect. How long can you stay? I know you are busy rebuilding an empire. I have time. I made time. Because being sovereign means nothing if I lose sight of what matters." She walked to the balcony and looked out at the rain. "I have been doing this for 3 months now. Leading, making decisions, reforming laws, meeting with councils and diplomats and representatives. It is important work, necessary work, but it is also exhausting." Daehyun joined her on the balcony. "Do you regret it?" "Taking the throne? No, I am where I need to be. But sometimes I miss being just Nari. Not the sovereign, not the symbol of a new era. Just a person who could eat instant noodles and watch rain fall and talk about nothing important. You can be that person here, whenever you want." They stood in comfortable silence for a while, watching the city. Human flying cars mixed with Velen transports in the sky. Advertisements in multiple languages lit up the buildings. 2 civilizations learning to live together one day at a time. "I heard about the new program," Nari said. "The Human Velen Technology Exchange. Your salvage yard is training Velen engineers now." "Yes, they are eager to learn. Sometimes too eager. I had to stop one from taking apart a ship's engine just to see how it worked." Nari laughed. "That sounds familiar. We Velens love understanding systems, but your humans have a gift for breaking systems and making them work better. That is what I am trying to teach my people, that there is wisdom in imperfection." "How is that going?" "Slowly. 300 years of tradition does not change overnight. But we are making progress. The militant faction has been disbanded. Taeyang is in custody awaiting trial, and I have appointed a council of advisors that includes both Velens and humans, people like Jiwoo, who understand what it means to adapt and cooperate." "Jiwoo accepted the position? She always said she hated politics." "She does, but she also said that someone has to make sure I do not do anything too idealistic." Her words, not mine, they laughed together. It felt good. Normal. Like they were just 2 people spending time together, not representatives of different worlds. "Daehyun," Nari said after a while. "There is something I need to tell you. The council has been discussing Earth's role in the sovereignty. Many Velens want to invite humanity to join our empire as full members, equal partners. That is big. What do you think?" "I think it is the right move. But I also think humans should decide for themselves. Your species has something unique. Your independence, your refusal to be controlled. I do not want to take that away by absorbing you into our system. So what do you propose?" "An alliance. Not membership. Partnership between equals. Earth keeps its sovereignty, and we share resources, technology, and knowledge. We learn from each other instead of one side dominating the other." Daehyun nodded. "That sounds like something a wise leader would suggest. I learn from the best." She looked at him seriously. "I learned from you. You showed me that true leadership is not about power. It is about service. About doing what is right even when it is hard. About caring more about others than yourself. I am just a salvage worker. I fix broken machines. No, you fix broken everything. Machines, empires, people." She took his hand. "You fixed me, Daehyun. I was broken in ways I did not even understand. I thought I was weak because I cared about things. You showed me that caring is the greatest strength." The rain continued to fall. Inside the apartment, everything was warm and dry and safe. This small space that had become the center of something so much bigger. "I have been thinking," Nari said quietly, "about what I really want. Not as a sovereign, not as a leader. Just as Nari. And I realize something. I do not want to just visit Earth occasionally. I do not want to see you only when my schedule allows. I want something more. What do you want?" She turned to face him fully, her violet eyes reflecting the city lights. "Do you remember the first question I asked you? On that night when I crashed on your balcony? May I stay here for the night? Yes, and you let me. Without hesitation, Without asking what you would gain. You just helped because it was right. She squeezed his hand. Now I am asking a different question. May I stay here forever, human? Daehyun's heart stopped. Forever? I know it sounds impossible. I am the sovereign. I have duties, responsibilities, an empire to lead. But I realized something these past 3 months. All of that means nothing without someone to share it with. Without someone who sees me as just me. And you are that person. But your people need you. You cannot just abandon them. I am not abandoning them. I will still be their sovereign. I will still lead and serve and protect. But I want a home too. A real home. Not a palace or a throne room. Just a place where I can be myself. And I want that place to be here with you. If you will have me. Daehyun looked at her. This alien princess who had crashed into his life and changed everything. She was offering him something incredible. Not just romance or partnership, but a true life together. Building something real in this small apartment while changing the universe outside. You do not have to ask permission, he said, echoing his words from months ago. You never did. Nari's face broke into the most beautiful smile he had ever seen. She kissed him then. Not the desperate kiss of their first goodbye, but something deeper. A promise. A beginning. When they finally separated, both were smiling. So what happens now? Daehyun asked. Now we figure it out together. I will split my time between here and my empire. You will help me reform Velen society while teaching our people about human ingenuity. We will build bridges between our species, and in our spare time we will eat instant noodles and watch rainfall and just be happy. That sounds perfect. It will not be easy. There will be challenges. Political opposition. Cultural differences. People who think a sovereign should not live in a tiny human apartment with a salvage worker. Let them think what they want. We will prove them wrong. Yes, we will. Nari looked around the apartment again. I want to keep this place exactly as it is. No renovations. No upgrades. No royal decorations. Just this simple space where I learned what really matters. The broken pots, too. Especially the broken pots. They remind me that imperfection is beautiful. That broken things can still be valuable. That you do not need to be perfect to be worthy of love. They went inside and sat on the same couch where Nari had first rested after the crash. Outside, the universe continued turning. 2 empires worked toward cooperation. Humans and Velens built a new future together. History was being made. But in this moment, in this small apartment, none of that mattered. What mattered was 2 people who had found each other across impossible odds. Who had taught each other what it meant to be strong, to be kind, to be human. I should probably learn to cook more than just instant noodles, Daehyun said. If you are going to be living here, why? Instant noodles are perfect, simple, honest, like everything else in your life. Our life, he corrected. It is our life now. Yes, Nari agreed, resting her head on his shoulder. Our life. Together. Forever. Outside, the rain began to slow. The city lights reflected in the puddles.